Hello everyone, welcome back to another video for the Madden Fantasy Football franchise or series, whatever you guys might want to call it. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Ravens-Texans, and ironically enough, the Ravens actually just lost their Final Four championship playoff game to the Chiefs in real life probably about an hour before I'm recording this video. But maybe they can get their lick back with the game against the Texans here for Madden. We'll kick things off revealing the injuries for both teams for this week one. To kick things off, Mark Andrews is going to be out. Marlon Humphrey is going to be out, the Pro Bowl cornerback. By the way, Mark Andrews is a Pro Bowl tight end, by the way. They're both some of the best at their position in the league, just to put it into context for those of you who don't know. For the Texans, the notable absences are going to be their safety, Jimmy Ward. He's a pretty good player. I think he's about an 87 overall in Madden. They're going to be missing their wide receiver 3, John Mechie. In real life, he kind of ended up getting benched just because he barely played at all for one reason or another. And other than that, that's really it that the Texans are going to be missing here. The Texans were a pain in the ass to try to set up for this video just because of the fact that you guys can go back and look at their transactions before week one. They decided to cut half their team and then pick up a bunch of other people. So guys like Christian Kirksey, for example, just got cut like right before this game happened, so I had to kind of go in there and make adjustments for all that. So it took a little bit to set up. I made it as accurate as I could. It's still not going to be perfect, but I did try to make it as accurate as we could. The players that will get represented in today's game will be Lamar Jackson will be playing for Toxic Zen Pie. We'll have two running backs playing. We'll have J.K. Dobbins playing for Big Yawners and Damian Pierce playing for J-Bay. We'll have Rashad Bateman playing for MILF. We will have Isaiah Likely playing for PMC Wagner. We will have Justin Tucker playing for J-Bay. We'll have the first team defense of the series so far. We'll have Baltimore's team defense playing for Big Yawners. We'll have Jalen Petre playing for Dictatorship. We'll have Kyle Hamilton playing for Big Yawners. Marcus Williams will be playing for MILF. We'll have Will Anderson playing for PMC Wagner. And we'll have Roquan Smith playing for myself. So I know that's a lot. This video is going to have quite a few more people than the last video did in it. Most of these names, all but two, are actually on the Ravens. You can tell the Ravens are a very solid roster in general. So yeah, you guys can kind of imagine the Ravens have a whole bunch of fantasy players here in this game that we're going to be covering here. And I will say the team defenses is kind of scary because they're going to be very hard to track in terms of points. I'll think very carefully about it and reveal the points at the end of the video like I always do. But the team defense might be a pain in the ass to try and track, and hopefully this video isn't too choppy. I'm still waiting on a graphics card to see if that might help my computer here whenever it comes to running the games. But without further ado, let's kick things off. We got the Texans and the Ravens here. And this should be a pretty important game for a lot of teams going into the fantasy week here. It'll be the Ravens receiving the ball first. Texans are kicking off. Shit does usually kick off more choppy than it usually stays, so it might get a little bit better. This is getting returned by, I want to say that's Nelson Aguilar for the Ravens. He's going to get past the 25-yard line, get to about the 28 on a very nice kick return. And now return yards will count for fantasy points for the team defense, so that's something to keep in mind. So Big Yawners got just barely a couple points there, but it's something. It's like a few brownie points for his team defense. We'll have Lamar Jackson on 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. He's going to drop back. He's going to look down to the left side. He's going to pass. That's broken up. The target was intended for, I actually can't tell from there. I think the number was 15, but I could be mistaken, so I don't want to say the receiver yet in case I'm mistaken on that one. And I do think 15 is Rashad Bateman, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe he's 18. Play 2 is going to be a play action. Lamar Jackson going to pass to the right. That's going to be Zay Flowers catching the ball. He's going to be brought down by, I believe that's Jalen Petre. But that is a nice 28-yard pickup for Lamar Jackson for Zay Flowers. And then I do believe that was Jalen Petre that made the tackle. Yes, I am correct. So that's points for Dictatorship, Toxic, and actually nobody had Zay Flowers yet, surprisingly enough, for the Week 1 edition. 1st and 10, passes out to the left. It's going to be a completion to OBJ for a pickup of 3. Not too much craziness. 3-yard gain. Can't complain. I was surprised about that too. Nobody really had OBJ yet at this point in the season. Lamar Jackson's now smacking his ass. He gets the ball. He's looking down the left side. Is he going to... Oh, now he's throwing to the right. That's almost a dime. If it wasn't raining, that shit would have been perfect. Or maybe if the ref was a Baltimore Raven, that would have been an absolute perfect pass. Unfortunately, it's not going to land where it needs to, and it's going to be incomplete. 3rd and 7 for the Ravens here. Let's see what they can cook up. J.K. Dobbins has yet to see the ball yet. I found that to be pretty interesting. Lamar Jackson's backing up. He's looking for another pass. Getting rushed. He's going to avoid the first sack. Damn, the rain must be making everything slippery. He hits a huge pass. Is that going to be a touchdown to Nelson Aguilar? Oh my god, he's giving the ref a reach around. Oh my god. But that's a huge touchdown for Nelson Aguilar and Lamar Jackson. Nobody owned Nelson Aguilar at this point. But Toxic did own Lamar Jackson, so that's a huge play for him. You have J-Bay's Justin Tucker attempting the extra point following that. Absolutely huge play right there. I actually didn't get a chance to see how many yards it was, but that was huge. I would assume it was at least 30. I actually think it was closer to about 50, actually, but I'll check at the end of the game, and then we'll find out what all the points were worth, as always. Texans are returning it out now. Now, this is something interesting I just want to point out. While team defenses in fantasy do get return yard points, whenever it comes to yards allowed against them, return yards don't count for that. So, for example, if the Texans run it up to the 27-yard line, that doesn't actually count as yards against them. The only yards that get counted against them are like actual passing yards, receiving yards, running yards, those types of yards. So it will be very important in this game to track how many total yards the Texans end up with, just because of the fact that Big Yonders does have the Ravens defense. You have Roquan Smith, who's lined up playing for myself. You have Dameon Pierce, who's going to be playing for J-Bay. You have both safeties who are actually owned by people. You're going to have the safeties owned by Big Yonders and Milf, respectively. So there's a lot of players here involving this Ravens defense. Nico Collins is going to get a nice pickup of 5, by the way, on the previous play. He's brought down by a multiple number of Ravens. Let's see what C.J. Stroud can cook up on 2nd and 5 here after the defense got torched. Maybe the offense can figure something better out. I think this is a handoff to Devin Singletary. I do not believe that's Dameon Pierce. And he's going to be brought down by a whole mix of Ravens. Bro's getting gangbanged. The W block from Robert Woods, though. His guy was not making it. It looks like one of the people involved in that tackle was actually Marcus Williams, though, the safety owned by Milf. So that might count as a tackle assist. It's hard to say for sure, though. 1st and 10. C.J. Stroud's trying to get the fake off. He's thrown to the right. That shit is at the floor. Looks like he was intending that one for Dalton Schultz, the tight end, former Cowboy. Marcus Williams is bragging like he did something. 2nd 10 from their own 38-yard line. C.J. Stroud's looking down the middle. He's going to hit him down the middle. It's going to be complete to Robert Woods, brought down by, I think that's Kyle Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken. Nobody actually had Robert Woods at this point on their starting rosters either, which I can't blame them, because remember going into this game, and yeah, it was Kyle Hamilton who made a tackle. Remember going into this game at the beginning of the season, the Texans were thought to be one of, if not the worst fucking teams in the league, which was understandable, but they ended up surpassing expectations and doing a lot better than people were really expecting. So a lot of these players might be a bit surprising. For example, guys like Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they're not going to be as big of an impact at the beginning of the season here as you might expect them to be. And that's Dameon Pierce running to the left. Looks like he's going to be brought down by a mix of Patrick Queen and a few other Ravens. It looked like fucking 58 was giving him the business, but we're going to ignore that. There's also a penalty on the play. It's going to be a holding. This one's going to be coming back on the Texans. I actually didn't catch who was doing the holding. Let's see who this was. This is going to be on Shaq Mason, the former Green Bay Packer. I'm trying to think. I think, yeah, that was Shaq Mason, the former Green Bay Packer. Actually, no, wait. He played for the Buccaneers. I'm kind of stupid. I'm a big stoop. So you got 1st and 18 getting a handoff to Dameon Pierce. He's going to keep on trucking, and he's going to get a pickup of quite a few. Brought down by a mix of Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, and one more. It's hard to say who's going to get credited that tackle because, yeah, that was a fucking mosh pit. 2nd and 10 from the Ravens' 45-yard line. Let's see what C.J. Stroud can cook up. He's going to look down the right. He's now looking in the middle. Is he going to get sacked? He gets it off just in the nick of time. He gets the ball off to Nico Collins, who's going to be brought down by, I think that's Kyle Hamilton. Again, Kyle Hamilton's having himself a nice day so far from a fantasy side of things. And, of course, Kyle Hamilton is owned by Big Yonders, actually. And then Marcus Williams is actually owned by Milf. First and 10. He's passing down the right side. This is a deep pass. It's going to be broken up. That's going to be broken up. I think that was actually Roquan Smith dropping back in coverage. What an absolute defensive play by Roquan Smith. That's going to be worth a pass deflect point for myself. See what the Texans do on 2nd and 10 here. Roquan Smith does not appear to be on the field. Dameon Pierce is going to try running to the left. He's going to be brought down. Oh, he's going to fight for a couple yards, actually, but he's going to be brought down by a mix of Ravens, including Geno Stone, the third safety on the roster. And that's going to be a pickup of 3. Dameon Pierce, owned by J-Bay's team. Maybe J-Bay can actually get a win in this season here. 3rd and 7. C.J. Stroud's going to pass it to the right. He is pressured and hit on the throw, but he does get the pass off to, I think that is Noah Brown. Yeah, that's Noah Brown who's going to get the nice pickup there. And I didn't see who I actually got brought down by. I think it might have been 26 Geno Stone, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Now we'll kick things off at the 1st and 10 mark at the 15-yard line. See what the Texans can do here. Maybe they can go out there and actually score a touchdown on these Ravens that are owned by big yawners. Of course, that would not be too good if the Ravens defense is struggling against the Texans right off the bat. This is a handoff to the right. He's going to be brought down by Patrick Queen and Kyle Hamilton, a mix of them. This is Dameon Pierce getting a pickup of 7. Kyle Hamilton is having himself a nice first quarter so far, though. I bet Big Yawners is pretty happy about that. 2nd and 3. It's going to be a pitch to the left. Dameon Pierce again. He's going to be met by a few Ravens, including Roquan Smith and a few defensive linemen, it looks like. 58, every time he does something, it looks like he's doing inappropriate things. I don't know if that's Michael Pierce or if that's Justin Madubuike off the top of my head, though. Roquan Smith is back on the field. He's been back on the field for a few plays now. It looks like he's going to be sending the linebacker blitz, and that's going to expose the middle, but C.J. Stroud just can't hit it. He had Dalton Schultz wide open, but the pressure just got there, and he kind of had to flush it out. Patrick Queen is now doing the wave. Looks like the Texans are going to have to settle for a field goal. Nobody owns the Texans kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, in this playthrough. Let's see if he makes it. That is up. It is good. 7-3 is the score. The Texans are able to put points up against this Ravens defense, which ended up being one of the best in the entire league in both fantasy and real life throughout the season. You could argue they're the direct reason why the Ravens did so well this year. Between the elite shutdown corners, the safeties playing really well, really good tackling around the board from the safeties and linebackers specifically, Roquan Smith making hawk plays, the D-line putting constant pressure on. The Ravens defense was just insane this year. And while the Texans, they played the Ravens twice this year actually, and while the Texans looked very impressive and did way better than people were expecting, the Texans are still kind of not in rebuild mode, but they're just getting out of it. So they're not really quite ready for a Super Bowl, while you have teams like the Ravens that are pretty much bulking up, and they've been bulking up for years and setting up for this. Here's Lamar Jackson taking his first scramble of the game. He's going to get, he ran right into the guy who was getting blocked. So he's not going to be able to get past the Texans defender, but he does get a nice pickup of 9 for Toxic Zenpai on the run. He's brought down by Shaq Griffin, the former Jacksonville Jaguar. 2nd and 1, 4 seconds left in the first quarter. Will the Ravens get the playoff? It's going to be a handoff. I think this is J.K. Dobbins' first touch of the game. He's going to run to the right. He's going to get quite a few yards. This is actually quite a nice pickup brought down by a mix of Texans. Pickup of 10. So in an otherwise quiet game for J.K. Dobbins, he's actually able to go out there and have a very nice run behind a very solid Ravens offensive line. On 1st and 10, the Ravens will be back out on the field. Lamar Jackson is going to look for a pass. See what he ends up doing here. He's going to step up into the pocket. He's going to throw it down the middle. He's going to hit Rashad Bateman, I believe that is, for a pickup of probably about 12 or 13. I think that is Rashad Bateman. And so that's going to be a nice pickup for MILF and Toxic. Yep, that's a pickup of 12. They credit it. Lamar Jackson is now in the pistol formation. See what he ends up doing. It's going to be a fake handoff. He's going to try scrambling to the right. He's going to get a big gain. He's going to keep running. He's going to get to the first down maybe. Got to be careful with that football, though. If he takes many of those, he could end up losing some fumbles as this game goes on. But so far, he is not. He has had a pretty good performance on the ground game so far. 19 yards on the pickup. Second-year corner out of Houston is going to make the tackle, Derek Stingley. Ravens are now in the position where this could very well be a run, but I think this is actually going to be a play action fake. Let's see. It's going to be a play action, but it looks like it's going to be a design run for Lamar Jackson again because, of course, why wouldn't Lamar Jackson just run the ball? And that's going to be another huge pickup for Toxic Zen, probably worth a lot more points here. Lamar Jackson is probably going to be a very good fantasy player for Madden just because of all the rushing yards that he's going to get. But at the end of the day, if he can't score touchdowns, that's what's really going to harness him or hold him back. But so far, he's done really well with that against these Texans. The Texans are sending a six-man blitz, which is going to leave a one-on-one on the left side and leave. I think that's going to leave Shaq Griffin, the former Jaguar, completely burnt on the route. OBJ just cooked him up, and that's another touchdown for Lamar Jackson as we were talking. Fucking OBJ is now hitting the nay-nay again. Justin Tucker, the kicker owned by JPay, I cannot talk right now, but owned by JBay attempting the extra point. And overall, Lamar Jackson is absolutely dicing up this Texans defense so far. This Texans defense is not looking nearly as well as it looked in real life, and that could be partially due to the fact that in this game they don't have Jimmy Ward, the 87 overall safety in Madden, the former San Francisco 49er. I'm trying to think here. For some reason, I thought the Texans were missing somebody else on that defense, but I can't really think of it off the top of my head. Oh, they were also, at this point in the season, they also didn't have guys like Blake Cashman at middle linebacker too, so this defense is definitely not as good as it'll be later in the videos. They can hand off to Dameon Pierce. He's brought down by a shit ton of Ravens, including Tyus Bowser, the right outside linebacker. Pickup of 8, though. Nice pickup for J-Bay. I think J-Bay is pretty satisfied with that if he ever set his team, but we both know he's not, or we all know he's not. Hand off to the right. Dameon Pierce, going to pick up the first down. Going to be brought down by a mix of Marcus Williams and I want to say Justin Madbuike. It looks like Odafe Oweh. No, it's actually Odafe Oweh, not Justin Madbuike. Odafe Oweh is going to look like he's going to try to get into a fight with some people. I don't know what's with these people, always trying to get into fights in Madden. Passes to the left. He's going to hit, I can't tell yet. He's going to hit, that is Robert Woods to the left that he's going to hit on that play. I don't think any of these receivers actually matter too much from a fantasy side of point. Not yet. They will. They'll mean a lot as the season goes on. But for this first game, they're really not going to mean too much. It's going to be a handoff to the left for Dameon Pierce. He's going to be shut down by Patrick Queen after a gain of a yard. Really didn't go too far there, but at least it's 0.1 fantasy points for J-Bay specifically. See what the Texans do here. Passing to the left. Pass is broken up by Marcus Williams, the guy owned by Milf himself. I'm telling you guys, Milf is going to win the Madden Fantasy Football Championship. He knows more than we do. Milf is just so good at fantasy, bro. 3rd and 9. See what the Texans can do. They're going to fucking hand it off to Dameon Pierce, who's going to be shut down by Roquan Smith. He does pick up a yard for whatever little that's worth, but Roquan Smith is going to say, no, 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 not in my house. And then he's going to come over and slap the ass of number 71. And the Texans are going to attempt a pretty long field goal here. I do think this one's definitely possible, but it is a very risky one that he could very well miss. Is he going to hit that? I think he actually got it. It's hard to tell because of how choppy it is, but I do believe he actually got it. Let's watch the replay here. Of course, the replay is just going to make us stare at his ass. Yeah, it looks like it was good. That was a nice field goal. That's going to hurt Big Yawners a little bit. Kiami Fairbairn actually has the leg power here to keep the Texans scoring points. At least that's good news. 2 minutes 45 seconds remain on the clock. Both teams still have all their timeouts, of course. This is going to be returned by the Ravens again. This is Nelson Aguilar. He's going to cut to the right. He's going to get brought down at the 21-yard line, not get back to the 25. If you guys ever hear me say that the return isn't very good, I'm not necessarily meaning that the return is bad. I'm just saying if it's less than 25 yards, I'm just usually meaning that they could have gotten more just by taking the knee. So that's what I'll usually mean by that. Not that it's necessarily a bad play, just that the decision ended up being a bad one. Ravens handed off to the right. This is J.K. Dobbins, who's going to just fucking sit down Jalen Petre. Actually, no, that's Gus Edwards. My mistake. Who's going to rush for a negative yard, and this is going to be a tackle for loss for the Texans. But Jalen Petre had a piece of him. I don't know if Madden's going to credit him the tackle or not for that, but he got fucking sat down one way or another, though. 2nd 11, 2 minutes 12, clock ticking, going towards the 2-minute warning. Lamar Jackson's taking the pass. He's going to look to the left. Can he hit that? Oh my god, these Texans are just getting cooked up left and right around the board. I believe this one's complete to Nelson Aguilar, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. And this is the first game we've actually played where we've had two receivers owned by somebody on the same. Actually, technically, we had the Chiefs game, but Sky Moore, owned by Booty Basher, wasn't really even starting in real life either. But for the other games, though, this is the first game where we've had two legit starting receivers. We have Rashad Bateman, owned by MILF, and we have Rashad Bateman, owned by MILF. We have Isaiah Likely, owned by PMC Wagner, who actually hasn't done anything yet, come to think about it. And then I'm trying to think who we have here. Actually, no, this isn't going to be the first game. I was actually thinking of one of the upcoming games we're going to have. But for now, we just have Isaiah Likely and Duvernay. And I'm actually right. I'm kind of yapping, but I'm just kind of thinking about like little fun stats to keep the game entertaining. This pass is going to be intended to the right. That shit's not even going to be close. 6'9". Lamar Jackson has a very nice passing number. Hey, I'm looking at the list. This is the first game where we've had two receiving targets, not counting running backs, owned by multiple fantasy people to keep things interesting. This is going to be a handoff up the middle for J.K. Dobbins, who's not going to get too much. He might pick up maybe 3. He ends up only getting 2. Houston's going to call a timeout here, keep a minute 9 on the clock. The Ravens are going to line up for a punt. They're going to be punting from about their own 24-yard line. The punt goes from the 24 to the Texans' 22, so that's a very nice punt right there. He's going to pick up a good, he's still going. He's going to get quite a few yards in this return. He's still up. He's fighting all the way up to about the 40-yard line, maybe the 41. Absolutely fantastic return there by the Texans kick returner. I think that was actually Tate Dell, the slot receiver, the rookie for the Texans here. Exactly 1 minute left, 2 timeouts remaining. Let's see what rookie C.J. Stroud can cook up. C.J. Stroud on 1st and 10, backs up. He's going to pass to the right. That's a deep pass. Let's see if he can hit it. And C.J. Stroud has just not been on point in this game so far. Maybe it's the rain affecting him or some shit. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I just work here. Either way, that takes 6 seconds off the clock, unfortunately. And pass was intended for Robert Woods. It just doesn't connect, unfortunately, for these Texans. 2nd and 10. C.J. Stroud's going to look for another pass. It looks like Roquan Smith is sending the blitz. Pass is going to be intended to the mid-right. Going to be brought down by Patrick Queen. Going to be a pickup of 7. It's hard to say who he passed the ball to, though. The number really never got shown. Texans are going to be lining up. He's going to get blitzed again from the right side, but he's just narrowly avoiding it. Brought down by Roquan Smith. The pass might not have been complete, actually, come to think of it. It's hard to tell. It looks like, I don't think the pass was actually complete. I think it got forced out by Roquan Smith, so that might count as a pass deflect. So it's kind of hard to say until we get to the end of the stat sheet. Of course, the Texans are going to be forced to punt here. 29 seconds and ticking. This is going to be caught by Nelson Aguilar at about the 14-yard line. He's going to return it. He's going to get tackled right immediately because these Ravens just can't stop running into their blockers. If I'm the coach, I'm making these guys run laps until they start not running into blockers because, that shit's stupid. 24 seconds left. It's very unlikely the Ravens really have much time to do anything here, but maybe with a few shots landing, they might be able to get into field goal range, especially with elite kicker Justin Tucker. Absolutely the best in the league at this time. Could be one of the best of all time. That's a pass going to be completed to... I actually don't know who the fuck that is. That's their 3rd string tight end that's ending up being the new number 2 tight end, replacing Mark Andrews. It's Chris Kolar, I think. I'm looking at my notes. This is going to be the last pass for the Ravens. This is going to be a pass to the left. It's going to be complete to OBJ, but that's going to be about it. That's not really going to change much in the game. I'm surprised the Ravens didn't call their timeouts and at least try to do more, but oh well. It's Madden. What do you guys really expect? Let's be honest here. He's brought down by MJ Stewart, who's going to be replacing Jimmy Ward in this specific game. I can't believe this game's already at halftime. This game is starting to fly by. It's going to be caught in his own end zone. He's going to decide to take the knee. 7 minutes still on the 3rd quarter clock. No clock actually ticked down whenever he took the knee. C.J. Stroud's going to go back out there, see if he can actually get the Texans to get a touchdown. He's gotten them into field goal range twice, but he really has struggled to keep them in the game with the Ravens so far. Roquan Smith has his X factor as well now, and it looks like the Ravens are sending the right side blitz. Unfortunately, they sent it at the wrong side, and this is going to cost them. It's a run for Devin Singletary, but I think there's going to be a hold on Robert Woods, though. Unfortunate. That was going to be a huge play for the Texans, but Robert Woods is going to be getting called for a hold here. Yeah, fun fact, guys, if you're ever playing football and you see a player on the ground, that probably means there was, well, a defensive player on the ground from an offensive player. Usually that means there was a hold. Unfortunately, that's just how modern football is. It used to be fun where you could actually beat the shit out of each other, but in modern football, if somebody's on the ground, you're probably getting called for a hold for it. This is going to be a pass to the left, right back to Robert Woods, the guy who just got caught with the penalty. It looks like he's going to be brought down by number 28 of the Ravens, who's sniffing someone's ass on the floor as we speak. I don't know who that is, to be honest. It's hard to tell who 28 is. Roquan Smith still keeps his X factor, though, so that's interesting. That should help him out a little bit in making some of these plays. It's going to be a handoff to Dameon Pierce. He's going to run to the left. He's going to stiff arm to fight to get back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe he mustered a yard. Yes, he'll fight like hell to get that 1 yard for J-Bay. J-Bay basically won the Super Bowl with that one. He's going to be brought down by Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby's been all over the fucking league. He's played for so many teams at this point. But yeah, he's going to get his first tackle of the game here. Roquan Smith is going to be lining up in the middle coverage against Nico Collins. You have a pass deflected by... Is that Odafe Owa playing man coverage against fucking Robert Woods? I love Madden, bro. In case you guys don't realize why that's funny, Odafe Owa is like a borderline defensive lineman. He pretty much is a defensive lineman more than he's an edge rusher. And overall, yeah, it's just kind of humorous watching him play coverage against your receiver. Looks like the Ravens are going to be sending a blitz by both Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, and that's going to cost them. They're going to pass the ball to Robert Woods, and Kyle Hamilton cannot make the tackle. 26 Geno Stone is trying to catch him. Can he get him? He's going to finally get him down after a huge pickup on the play. So the Texans now have 1st and goal. This is really going to be hurting Big Yawner's fantasy performance from the Baltimore Ravens team defense, who really hasn't landed any sacks. They haven't gotten any interceptions, forced fumbles. This Ravens defense is really struggling, and Robert Woods is cooking them up so far. First and goal at the 7. It's going to be a handoff to Dameon Pierce. He's going to break a tackle and then not get much further from there. He is going to pick up about 2. It's hard to say who he got tackled by. It looks like it's going to be Andre Washington. I've never even heard of him, but he is brought down by Andre Washington one way or another, though. 2nd goal at the 5. Another handoff to Dameon Pierce, brought down by Roquan Smith. That's a Ravens tackle for loss for both Roquan Smith, for myself, and the team defense for Big Yawners. See what the Texans end up doing here on 3rd and goal from their own 7-yard line. I'm expecting them to try targeting Dalton Schultz, but we'll see. Texans are going to pass to the left. That's a touchdown. Or no, he actually dropped it. That was intended for Noah Brown. He actually ended up dropping. That shit cannot be dropped, but oh well, he found a way to drop it, and it looks like Jaime Fairbairn's going to have to kick his 3rd field goal of the game. Let's see if he ends up making it. Roquan Smith is waving in the air because, that'll stop him. But nope, that's going to be yet another field goal for these Texans. They're able to get yards, but they're really struggling when it comes to getting the job done, though, so far in this game, This is just fantastic realism by Madden. Funny enough, I think the final score of this game was like 25-9 or something like that in real life, where the Texans were getting a lot of yards but just couldn't finish things up. And this was the game that really was the welcome to the NFL game for C.J. Stroud. He did really good in the first game, he did really good in the season, but the first game he really struggled. And then on the kick return, the Raven is going to get to the 23-yard line. That's Nelson Aguilar. A few yards under the 25 you'd hope for him to get to. See what Lamar Jackson can cook up from the pistol. Remember, the Ravens are up 5, so they don't need to be doing anything too stupid here. This is going to be a play-action run to the right. He's going to be shut down by Will Anderson. Absolute huge tackle for PMC Wagner. The rookie is going to bring down Lamar Jackson in a huge play. I don't know, based on Madden, that might just count as a tackle for loss. I think it should count as a sack, but I'm not going to interfere with what the stat book says, though. In case you guys are wondering, even if something seems like it should be something else, I'm not going to change it. Lamar Jackson is going to hit a pass out to the left for a couple yards, but that's about it. This is going to be to Isaiah Likely, brought down by a few Texans. Catch for 2 yards for PMC Wagner. 3rd and 12. Let's see what the Ravens can end up doing here. He's going to look down the middle. Lamar Jackson is going to hit the pass. Is that to Isaiah Likely again? I think that's Isaiah Likely. It's hard to tell for sure, though. Yes, that is Isaiah Likely again, getting a nice pickup for PMC Wagner, as well as Toxic Zen by having Lamar Jackson specifically. 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. Looks like the Ravens are going to be looking down the middle. It's going to be a pass. That is going to be completed to, looks like Zay Flowers, the rookie. pickup of 6 for Lamar Jackson. I hate that referee that was just shown for no reason in particular. 2nd and 4. Let's see what the Ravens can do here. It's going to be a handoff to J.K. Dobbins, who's going to run to the right. He's going to pick up at least 6 or 7 yards. Very nice run there for J.K. Dobbins. Although, even though he's running well, he's really not getting many chances at the ball, which is really hurting Big Yawner's fantasy team so far. But that definitely helps, and it is a step in the right direction for the remainder of this game. Minute 35, clock is ticking in the 3rd quarter. And off to J.K. Dobbins. He's going to run to the right. He's going to try to cut back into the middle. He's going to pick up about 4 yards on the play. Brought down by a mix of Texans. Let's see what the Ravens do here. Lamar Jackson's looking like he's going to go for another pass. He's going to pass down the middle. Who's that completed to? That's Isaiah Likely again. Isaiah Likely's waking up in the second half here. And that's going to be a tackle solo for Jalen Petre over Catership as well. Big pickup for Toxic Zenpai, Isaiah Likely from PMC Wagner, and you're also going to get the nice tackle solo if you're Catership to help you out as well in this game specifically. Let's see what the Ravens can do here. It's a handoff to J.K. Dobbins. He's going to run to the right. He's going to break a tackle and then get brought down, but he does get a nice 6-yard gain. He's had some very nice success running in this game so far. The Ravens just haven't utilized him properly. He's going to be brought down by Henry 202. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that name. 2020. I don't fucking know. 2nd and 4. Ravens at the Texans' 14-yard line. This is going to be a handoff to, I think, J.K. Dobbins again. He's going to pick up about a yard and get brought down. I can't tell who he got brought down by, though. This is going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. This game is actually going by very, very quickly so far, which is very surprising. It's not really surprising, but it's surprising compared to how long the other two were. Lamar Jackson is going to be dropping back on 3rd and 3. He's going to pass the screen pass to J.K. Dobbins. If he can pick up the first down or the touchdown, this could be huge for Big Yawners. He might have gotten the first down. No, he's just going to get to the 4th and inches mark, so that's going to be about 1 point for the catch and then a couple points, or a couple fractions of a point for the yards. Here's where the true test comes in, though. It's 4th and inches. Let's see what the Ravens decide to do. They hand it off. It looks like it's going to be a first down run for, is that J.K. Dobbins, or is that, yeah, that's J.K. Dobbins who's going to get about a yard. And bro is standing on his neck. Bro is not George Floyd. What the hell is that? Got some racism going on the field in Baltimore here. Lamar Jackson now screaming at the left side at his receivers. See what he ends up doing on 1st and goal here at the 9-yard line. See if he can get his 3rd touchdown of the game. He passes it short for J.K. Dobbins again. And he's brought down by a mix of Jalen Petre and a bunch of other Texans. Basically the whole family tree. 2nd goal at the 3-yard line. Very nice performance out of Lamar Jackson. And J.K. Dobbins is starting to salvage his game a little bit here. Looks like a lot of the first half players are starting to become quiet. A lot of the second half players are starting to pick things up. 2nd goal at the 3-yard line. Lamar Jackson's going to manually take it. He's brought down by Will Anderson again. Loss of about 2 for Lamar Jackson. Maybe considered a sack by Will Anderson. Now, Will Anderson could go from having a bad game to having a fantastic game, depending on how Madden decides to count these stats he just got with those tackles for losses. Pass is going to be to the right by Lamar Jackson, but that's overthrown for Zay Flowers. He's just not able to hook up with it. Bro, why are you waving your finger like you did anything? You got cooked up on the route so fucking bad. Lamar Jackson just had a bad place ball, bro. And Baltimore is challenging this shit. That is not going to be successful. I can almost promise you. Like, you guys could even see it watching at home. You guys can probably tell for sure that this shit was not in bounds. Like, you can see his feet there. Bro was like 8 yards past the white. I think the Ravens are just trying to get a water break or something, to be honest. Like, this was not even close. Look at his left foot. What the fuck was bro looking at? And the ref's not even looking at him. Bro's over here thinking about getting a Jimmy Dean sausage tomorrow. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Some hood shit going on in Baltimore. I don't think any of this can be trusted. Yeah, the Ravens are going to lose a timeout for it. Justin Tucker of JB, is going to attempt the field goal. This is going to be a very short field goal, but it's still going to be worth a solid 3 points for JB. Definitely happy if you're JB, of all the people to get fantasy points right there. JB is going to be happy with his 3. And the score is 17-9 now. If there's any time for CJ Stroud to get his first touchdown of his young NFL career in this Madden simulation, this is it. 4 minutes, 51 seconds on the clock. Still have 3 timeouts. Let's see what they can do. This is going to be returned by Tank Dell. He's going to try running to the right. He's going to get back to the 20-yard line. He's going to cut to the left. He's going to fight for maybe getting to the 21, but that's as far as he's going to get. Wastes a bit of time and loses 4 yards out of the play, so not a great return choice. Let's see what the Texans end up doing here. First and 10 at the 21-yard line. It's going to be a handoff to, I think that's Dameon Pierce, but he's going to be brought down for a, that might be considered a tackle for loss for Geno Stone. We'll have to wait and see the stats at the end of the game, of course. But that's a very nice play by the Ravens defense, one way or another, to shut him down. Second and 10 at the 20-yard line. Looks like C.J. Stroud is going to be looking down the middle. He's going to hit Dalton Schultz, the former Dallas Cowboy. He's going to be brought down by Kyle Hamilton, owned by Big Yawners, of course. I have to check my list to see which one's owned by which each time whenever I'm reading this. Because, yeah, there's 2 safeties owned by the respective teams. Kyle Hamilton by Big Yawners, Marcus Williams by MILF. First and 10, 37-yard line. It's going to be handed off to the right. Brought down by a mix of literally every single Raven on the field. Dameon Pierce is going to pick up a gain of 3, though. Let's see what else the Texans can cook up here. 3 minutes, 22 seconds left. Kyle Hamilton has a nice day so far with 4 tackles. Looks like the safeties are actually getting more tackles than the linebackers for the Ravens, which is surprising. As I say that, Patrick Queen makes a huge play and stuffs that run. Might be counted as a tackle for loss for the Ravens, of course. Huge, huge play. They're shutting down this run. The Texans really can't get it going right now when they need it most. 2 minutes, 51 seconds left. 3rd and 8. Huge play for C.J. Stroud. He needs to make something happen right here. Let's see what he can do. He's looking down the left. That's going to be broken up, almost intercepted by, I actually can't tell. I think that's Marcus Williams again. It's going to be 4th and 8, and the Texans are going to have to punt and rely on their defense that has been unreliable so far today, to say the least. The Ravens have really cooked them up pretty much around the board. So they're going to have to make one miraculous stop here and see if they can make something magical happen. It's going to be a punt. It's going to land at about the 17 or 18-yard line. He's going to return it. He's going to go to the... Bro just did a triple cut. I don't even know how the fuck to announce that. He went left, right, then left. I don't know. I've never seen that in Madden. But he did a triple cut, got to the 26-yard line. The Ravens are going to try to kill some clock here. Maybe try to go out there and get a field goal and solidify the game. Let's see what the Ravens can do here overall. Lamar Jackson has looked very well so far. And to the Texans' credit overall, it's not like they've been playing horrible. It's just the Ravens are a very good team. As I say that, I take back everything I said. Lamar Jackson just bent him over. Oh my God, the entire Texans organization is on the fucking floor. Jesus Christ. But either way, that's a huge pickup for Lamar Jackson. That was fucking massive. Yeah. Everybody who just got fucking bulldozed by Ronnie Stanley and Lamar Jackson should just go back to the nursing home, bro. Oh no, you guys are gonna watch this replay. Look, Lamar Jackson puts him on the floor, and Ronnie Stanley's gonna put this guy on the floor at the bottom of your screen here. Look at this shit. Oh my God, bro, this is insane. And that's gonna take the game to the 2-minute warning here. Fucking the entire Ravens organization just bent over the Texans. If you're a Texans fan, just stop watching. It's not gonna get better from here. I'm joking, of course, but goddamn, that was embarrassing. 2 minutes left. Hand off to J.K. Dobbins. It's going to be to the right. Will he get back to the line of scrimmage? He will. He might get a yard. He's going to be brought down by a mix of Ravens, or by a mix of Texans. It's going to kill about 3 seconds of clock, though, and gain a yard. Let's see what the Ravens do here. Another handoff to J.K. Dobbins, this time to the left. And the left has been pretty successful so far this game, as you just saw. Very nice pickup there. Pickup of about 6. It's going to kill about 4 more seconds of clock and make the Texans waste another timeout. The Ravens are now rearranging their entire offense. Let's see what they end up doing with it. They do have a mismatch on the left for what it's worth. They have a 3v2 with one guy being against the linebacker. Let's see what they can do. And Lamar Jackson passes to the right. Like, bro, what is the point in sending trips to cause a mismatch with the linebacker if you're just going to pass to the right anyway? Dumb game. But anyway, pass is incomplete. 4th and 3. Are the Ravens going for this? Wait just a country fried minute. The Ravens are going for it. Well, shit. Let's see what they end up doing. Maybe they're trying to draw them offsides. They are not. They hand it off to J.K. Dobbins, who is going to pick up the first down. They're fucking geniuses, and he's going to be brought down by Jalen Petre. Very nice pickup there. And from here, the Ravens can just knee the clock out and win the game from here. Lamar Jackson's going to take the knee. Now, this will count as a lost rushing yard for each time he does it. Unfortunately, it's just the way Madden works. It doesn't count as a tackle for loss by the Texans or anything like that, but it does count as a lost yard for Lamar Jackson specifically. In these games, looks like he's not going to take a knee this time. Looks like he's going to try to hand it off to J.K. Dobbins this time. I guess they don't like the idea of kneeing. I guess that's not cool enough. And actually, it's a handoff to Gus Edwards. Wouldn't want to give big yawners any extra points or anything because fuck big yawners. And let's see what the Ravens can do here. 3rd and 11. They're probably just going to take a knee and finish the game. Right here, they got about 27 seconds in taking. They're probably just going to need the clock here, to be honest. There's not really much to cover here. Let's see what the Ravens end up doing. Are they just going to kill the game? They should. If they have any class, any sportsmanship, any readiness, any willingness, they should just end the game here. And look, they're shaking hands. They're being respectful. Uh-oh. Now they're trolling. What the fuck is this? Now bro's trolling. Now they're kicking a field goal. J-Bay's going to get some extra bonus points. Now they're trolling. What the fuck is that? The Ravens are going to get fined for that shit. The refs are confused. They don't even know what to do. They're shoving their hands in the air. I guess the shit was good. What is this? They really just trolled the Texans in the first game of the season. That's insane. Like, what the fuck is up with that? But anyway, let's go ahead and look at the player stats here. For the passing game, Lamar Jackson was fucking amazing for the passing game and the run game. He went 14 for 19, 206 passing yards. You'd hope for a little bit more, but oh well. He also had those 2 touchdowns. Very nice game for him overall. C.J. Stroud went 9 for 18 through 164 passing yards. No touchdowns to be seen, though. So, unfortunately, it wasn't the worst performance for a rookie, but definitely could have been better. In terms of the run game, Dameon Pierce went 13 for 33. Definitely not the best day for him. He started out strong, but really started struggling at the second half. On the flip side, J.K. Dobbins didn't do much in the first half and did really good in the second half. Went 10 for 49, which is a pretty solid game, but you'd hope for a touchdown or something like that to make his solid game a bit better. You had Lamar Jackson go 8 for 55. Absolutely fantastic performance on the ground. That's going to be worth an additional 5.5 bonus points for Toxic Zenpai. Gus Edwards didn't do shit. And then Devin Singletary went out there and ended up having 2 rushing attempts for 8 yards as well. I think that was it in terms of the run game. Yep. In terms of the receiving, you had Robert Woods go out there and had 5 catches for 115 yards. Isaiah Likely went 3 for 43. You had Odell Beckham Jr. go 3 for 34 and rack in a touchdown. You had Zay Flowers go 2 for 34. You had J.K. Dobbins go 2 for 10. Nico Collins 2 for 17. Nelson Aguilar went 2 for 16 and had a nice touchdown as well. Dalton Schultz had a catch for 17. Charlie Cooler a catch for 12. Rashad Bateman a catch for 12. Noah Brown a catch for 15. And then Devin Singletary dropped 1 like Kadarius Toney. Let's see. Let me just check the blocking because I got to see how many sacks were allowed. The Ravens allowed 1. The Texans didn't allow any of them so far or in this game. In terms of the tackling, you had a tackle for loss by Geno Stone, but nobody really had him, so I'm not really going to discuss him too much. There was 1 tackle for loss. I'll count that in the favor of big yawners. And just to make sure I get them all, I'm going to count every single tackle for loss that I see on the Ravens when I'm counting for big yawners in the defense and for all defenses in general. You had a 4 tackle solo, 2 tackle assist game for Kyle Hamilton. You had a 3 tackle solo, 5 tackle assist game and a half sack for Denzel Perryman and a tackle for loss. You had a Shaq Griffin game with 3 tackle solo, 2 tackle assists. You had Jalen Petre have 3 tackle solo, 5 tackle assists. Very nice game for him. It doesn't look like he had any pass deflects or anything like that. Will Anderson didn't get credited sacks. He ended up getting just credited 2 tackles for loss. So that's 2 tackles solo worth 2 tackles for loss. You had MJ Stewart go out there and go 2 for 2 on tackles and assists. Other than that, he didn't do too much. You had Tavier Thomas go out there and have a pass deflect and 2 tackles solo. You had Patrick Queen go out there and have 2 tackles solo, 6 tackle assists, and a tackle for loss for the Ravens here. You had Corey Littleton go out there and have a tackle solo and a tackle assists. Jake Henson, a tackle for 1, or a tackle and a tackle assist. You had Henry 202 have a tackle solo, 3 tackle assists. You had Tank Dell go out there and have a tackle for some reason. I'm just going to kind of skip over some of these guys because they really didn't do anything here. You had Roquan Smith go out there. He had 1 tackle solo, 1 tackle assist, a tackle for loss, and a pass deflect. I thought he'd be credited a bit more, but oh well. Tyus Bowser didn't really do too much in the game. Ronald Darby didn't really do too much in the game either. Fucking Caillou Blue Kelly. Some of these names are actually made up, bro. Let's just kind of scroll through here and see if there's anything else worth mentioning. I don't really think so, but let's just double check. Half sack for Sheldon Rankins. You had Odafe Owa, who didn't really do too much. You did have Marcus Williams, who finished his game with 6 tackle assists, didn't get credited any of the pass deflects or anything like that, unfortunately for MILF. So I guess we can take a look at the kicking. You had Kyrie Fairbairn, who made 3 field goals, but nobody really had him. You had Justin Tucker, who made 2 field goals, and I think he had 2 extra points, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he had 2 extra points, and then his field goals that he made were from the 1 to 29 yards, and then he had a field goal from the then he also had he had 2 field goals from, I think, the 1 to 30, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he had any. Oh yeah, he also had that 3rd field goal at the end where he was trolling for the 40 to 49 one. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to say the least. But other than that, I think that's pretty much all he had, though. Let me do some math real quick from the Texans side of things to see how many yards they got on the game. So passing, the Texans ended up getting. Oh, I have to look at the return yards too. Passing, the Texans ended up having 164 passing yards. And then rushing, they ended up having about 41. And then on the kick return here, the Ravens ended up having. Well, let me have it pull up for the Ravens here real quick, just so we know for sure how many they had. Nelson Aguilar only had about 11 return yards on the punt return, and on the kick return, he had 67. So that's what we'll count everything as. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I figured this game ended sooner, so I figured I'd go more in depth with the ending scores of the game, not only just to give you guys a better picture of everything, but to help me out whenever I'm trying to calculate all the points as well, just so I can have more time to sit there and calculate everything and look at all the scores for sure and make sure I didn't miss anything.